Have you ever stopped to wonder why, despite all the noise in the world, it feels like something is missing inside? Like you're running in circles, chasing things that never seem to bring true peace or satisfaction? What if the answer to everything you're searching for, happiness, wealth, and success, wasn't out there but right here inside you? The world is constantly pulling us in every direction. It tells us what we should want, who we should be, and how we should live. But what if the greatest power you could harness was your ability to silence the chaos and focus on yourself? What if, in this silence, you could hear the true voice of your purpose? Most people spend their lives looking outside themselves for the answers, seeking approval, trying to measure up. They get lost in the noise, the expectations, the distractions. But what if you were to turn all that off? What if you chose to stop listening to the voices that aren't yours? Imagine how different your life could be if you just stopped trying to fit into a mold created by others. What if the key to everything you've ever wanted was simply to focus on yourself, to quiet the world, and listen to what you really need, what you truly desire? Here's the truth. The more you focus on others' opinions, the more you allow external distractions to control your life, the further you drift from the happiness and wealth you're seeking. Success and fulfillment don't come from mimicking someone else's journey. They come from the clarity you find within yourself when you're not overwhelmed by the noise. When you embrace silence, you reclaim your own power. You clear the path to your true desires and allow your mind to see possibilities you couldn't before. You might be wondering, but what do I do with that silence? What happens if I just focus on myself? The answer is simple. When you choose to focus on yourself, you break free from the chains of comparison and insecurity. You stop looking outward for approval or validation. Instead, you start building your life based on your own terms, your own values. You begin to understand what really makes you happy. Not what the world says should make you happy, but what truly fills your soul with joy. The reward for focusing on yourself is not just clarity but confidence. It's a deep, unwavering belief that you are enough, that you can create the life you've always dreamed of, simply by staying true to yourself and being silent long enough to hear the truth inside. And in this silence, something amazing happens. You start to attract the people, opportunities, and resources that align with who you really are. You stop chasing success and start allowing it to come to you. So, what would your life look like if you could silence the distractions, focus on yourself, and stay true to your path? Would it feel like the weight has been lifted? Would you feel a sense of peace and power that you've never known before? Stay with me, because the truth about how to achieve lasting happiness and wealth is just ahead. And it all begins with you, your focus, your silence, your strength. When you focus on yourself and embrace the silence, you start to shift your energy from a life lived in reaction to one lived in creation. The noise around you becomes irrelevant, and in that quiet, you begin to hear the whispers of your true desires. The world will always try to pull you in 1,000 different directions, telling you who you should be, what you should have, and how you should feel. But the more you focus inward, the more you realize that the answers to all of your deepest questions have always been inside you. It's not about what's happening outside. It's about how you respond, how you choose to navigate through the noise and chaos. You have the power to reclaim your life simply by focusing on what matters most, you. In that silence, the distractions fade, and you are left with one undeniable truth. The greatest source of happiness and wealth begins with a quiet, focused mind. This isn't about escaping the world or rejecting others. It's about giving yourself the space to grow and evolve without the constant need for validation. When you stop seeking approval, stop comparing yourself to others, you unlock a power that is uniquely yours. You stop looking for shortcuts and start building your future on the foundation of your own vision, your own beliefs. You realize that the life you want is not something you need to chase. It is something you are meant to attract by aligning your actions with your deepest desires. It's in this space of silence where clarity is born. When you remove the clutter, the self-doubt, the second-guessing, your true purpose becomes crystal clear. You stop questioning whether you're good enough, worthy enough, smart enough, because you understand, deep down, that the only approval you need is your own. You begin to see yourself as someone who is capable of creating the life you envision, not because of luck or circumstance, but because you have the discipline, the focus, and the belief in your ability to make it happen. Your worth isn't determined by external validation. It's determined by the quiet certainty you have in your own ability to succeed. The more you silence the world, the more you open up space for greatness. This greatness is not reserved for a select few. It's already inside you. You've always had the potential to succeed. What was missing wasn't the opportunity. It was the focus, the consistency, the ability to shut out the noise, to stop chasing the distractions, and to invest all your energy into your own growth. Your success, your happiness, your wealth, all depend on your ability to prioritize yourself, your vision, your journey. It doesn't happen by accident. It happens because you decide in the silence that you are worthy of it. You decide that you will no longer let the distractions of the world determine your path. As you commit to this path of self-focus, something incredible begins to unfold. Opportunities you never saw before start to appear. People who resonate with your energy will begin to show up, and the resources you need will come to you, not because you've chased them, but because you've created the space for them to find you. This is the law of attraction in its truest form. When you focus on yourself and align with your purpose, the universe will respond. The success you seek, the happiness you long for, and the wealth you deserve all come when you are fully in tune with your own inner strength. The moment you stop fighting against the current and start flowing with it, you realize that everything you need was always right there, waiting for you. When you stop seeking validation from the outside world, you reclaim your power. No longer do you need the approval of others to feel worthy or capable. You begin to understand that your value is not determined by what others think of you, but by the way you view yourself. This shift in perception is the beginning of true transformation. It's only when you fully embrace who you are that the world around you starts to change. You stop measuring your success against someone else's standards, and instead, you define it on your own terms. Success becomes less about what you achieve and more about the journey of aligning with your own purpose, building a life that is uniquely yours. This inner transformation doesn't happen overnight. It requires patience, discipline, and the unwavering belief that you are worthy of the life you desire. But as you focus on yourself, as you consistently show up for your own growth, you'll begin to see changes. Small victories will begin to add up, and those victories will fuel your confidence. The more you focus on your own progress, the less concerned you become with the speed at which others are moving. You stop comparing your timeline to anyone else's, because you know that your journey is yours alone, and it is unfolding exactly as it should. It's in these quiet moments of focus that you begin to tap into the limitless potential that lies within you. Every time you silence the distractions, you make room for your true power to emerge. You start to believe, not just in your ability to succeed, but in your right to succeed. You realize that the happiness and wealth you desire are not distant dreams, but inevitable outcomes when you commit fully to your own vision. The more you invest in yourself, the more the world begins to respond. Opportunities that once seemed out of reach now feel within your grasp. The key to unlocking your potential was never about external circumstances. It was always about your internal transformation. When you focus inward and shut out the noise, you begin to see things with a clarity that was previously impossible. You stop second-guessing yourself, and you begin to trust your instincts. With every decision you make, you gain more confidence in your ability to navigate the challenges ahead. The doubts that once held you back lose their power. You understand that failure is not something to fear, but a stepping stone toward greater success. In silence, you embrace the fact that every setback is an opportunity to learn, to grow, and to strengthen your resolve. As you continue to focus on yourself, you realize that wealth is not just a material pursuit. It's a byproduct of living a life of purpose, of staying true to your values, and of showing up every day for your own growth. True wealth is the abundance that flows into your life when you are aligned with your purpose and committed to the journey. The world begins to reflect the energy you put out, and what was once elusive becomes yours to create. You stop chasing success and begin to attract it effortlessly. Happiness, wealth, fulfillment, they all come when you focus on yourself, stay silent, and trust the process. When you begin to trust yourself and align with your own purpose, you stop relying on external factors to define your worth. You stop measuring your success against the success of others. The validation you once sought from the world becomes irrelevant because you understand that true fulfillment comes from within. This is the key to lasting happiness and wealth. It is not found in external possessions or achievements, but in the quiet confidence you cultivate when you are at peace with yourself. The more you trust your own path, the more powerful you become. You stop doubting your worth and start recognizing your true potential. In that quiet space, your mind becomes a powerful tool, one that will guide you toward everything you desire. Every day that you choose to focus on yourself, to silence the noise, you build a foundation for success that is unshakable. You stop allowing the opinions and expectations of others to influence your decisions. Instead, you begin to make choices that align with your values, your desires, and your vision for the future. The more you listen to your own inner voice, the more your confidence grows. You start to see that the only approval you need is your own. With each decision that comes from this place of self-awareness, you create momentum toward your dreams. As you consistently stay true to your purpose, the world begins to respond. You start to attract the right people, the right opportunities, and the resources you need to move forward. It's as though the universe is guiding you, but the truth is, it is your unwavering focus and commitment that are creating these opportunities. The more you stay aligned with your purpose, the more you see the path ahead become clearer, more defined. Your journey becomes less about struggle and more about flow. The silence you've embraced becomes your greatest ally. It is in that silence that your inner strength is revealed. It is in that silence that you begin to understand that your potential is limitless and nothing, absolutely nothing, can stand in your way. You become unstoppable, not because of any external force, but because you have learned to harness the power of your own mind. You stop waiting for permission, and instead you take control of your destiny. Each step you take becomes a declaration that you are worthy of success, of happiness, and of wealth. As you continue to focus on yourself and stay silent, you will see your world transform. The distractions that once seemed so important will fade away, and you'll realize that all along you've been exactly where you needed to be. You will find joy in the journey, not just in the destination. True wealth is not found in possessions or titles. It's found in the peace you feel when you are fully aligned with who you are and what you are meant to do. The more you focus on yourself, the more you cultivate an abundance that is limitless. The more you silence the noise, the more you open yourself to the life you've always dreamed of. All it takes is belief in yourself, trust in your purpose, and the courage to embrace the quiet moments that will lead you to everything you desire. The truth is, success doesn't come from chasing after it relentlessly. It doesn't come from constantly seeking approval or trying to prove yourself to others. It comes from the moment you stop looking outside and start looking inward. When you truly understand that your worth is not defined by what others think of you, that is when you begin to experience the power of self-focus. The moment you release the need for external validation, you free yourself from the constant pressure to measure up. You realize that your happiness, your wealth, your success, they all depend on one thing: your ability to believe in yourself and trust the process of growth. This belief in yourself becomes the foundation for everything you want to achieve. The more you focus inward, the clearer your path becomes. You stop doubting your ability to reach your goals and start trusting that every step you take, no matter how small, brings you closer to the life you've always dreamed of. The world around you may be filled with distractions, noise, and chaos, but when you focus on yourself, you silence the noise and create your own path forward. It's in this quiet space that your true potential emerges. You begin to see that you are capable of achieving everything you desire, not because of luck or chance, but because of your unwavering belief in yourself and your purpose. You stop waiting for external circumstances to align, and instead you start taking control of your own destiny. You realize that your success isn't dependent on factors outside of your control, but on the power of your decisions and your ability to stay focused on your vision. The more you stay silent, the more you begin to see your thoughts clearly, and in that clarity you find your strength. You begin to trust yourself completely, knowing that every choice you make is leading you toward the life you deserve. As you continue to embrace this self-focus, you notice something incredible happening. You begin to attract exactly what you need. The universe responds not to your desperation, but to your clarity, your inner peace, and your unwavering determination. Opportunities appear where there once seemed to be none. The right people enter your life. You begin to notice that your actions are aligned with the results you want to create. The more you focus on yourself, the more your energy begins to align with the energy of success. It's no longer something you have to chase. It starts to flow toward you. You realize that this is the real power, the ability to create the life you desire not by fighting against the current, but by aligning yourself with the flow of your own purpose. Your journey becomes less about struggle and more about ease. Your life becomes a reflection of the energy you put into yourself. You stop worrying about what others think, and instead, you create the life that's true to who you are. The wealth you seek isn't just money. It's the richness that comes from living authentically. The happiness you desire isn't just a fleeting feeling. It's a state of being that comes from knowing you are exactly where you are meant to be. When you focus on yourself, you begin to realize that everything you need is already within you. The power to transform your life is yours. The happiness and wealth you seek aren't external. They are an expression of your own inner strength. And once you truly understand this, nothing can stand in your way. You become unstoppable. You become the architect of your own destiny. When you stop seeking approval and start trusting your own judgment, you unlock a power that no one can take away from you. This power doesn't come from wealth, recognition, or status. It comes from a deep, unshakable belief in yourself. It's in the moments of stillness, when the noise of the world fades away, that you begin to hear your inner truth. This truth has always been there, but only when you focus on yourself, free from distractions, can you truly access it. You realize that your happiness doesn't depend on anyone else's opinion of you. It depends on your ability to trust and invest in yourself. The more you do this, the more you begin to see that everything you want is already within reach. Success doesn't come from constantly hustling and pushing yourself beyond your limits. It comes from clarity, from understanding what you truly want and focusing on that vision with unwavering commitment. When you let go of the need to keep up with others, you free yourself to pursue your own path. You stop trying to meet arbitrary expectations and start measuring your success against your own standards. You start to trust that your vision is enough, that your dreams are valid, and that the quiet moments of self-reflection are the most powerful moments you will ever experience. These moments are the foundation of everything you will achieve. The more you silence the distractions, the more you align with your true self. In this alignment, you find the confidence to take bold actions, to make decisions that are in harmony with your purpose. You stop doubting your abilities and instead you trust that every step you take is leading you closer to your goals. You realize that success is not about constantly striving. It's about aligning your actions with your purpose and trusting that everything else will follow. When you focus on yourself, when you give yourself permission to be still and listen, the path ahead becomes clear. Every decision feels empowered, every action intentional, because you know you are on the right path. This process of alignment doesn't always come easily. It takes patience and discipline, but the rewards are immeasurable. When you stop chasing the approval of others, you become the master of your own fate. You stop looking for shortcuts, and instead you start building your future with purpose and intention. You realize that the life you've always wanted is not outside of you, it's inside you, waiting to be brought to life by your actions. You stop worrying about what others think and start focusing on what you need to do to build the life you desire. The more you focus on yourself, the more you see how everything falls into place. The opportunities you seek appear, not because you've chased them relentlessly, but because you've created the space for them to find you. Wealth, success, and happiness aren't things you need to chase. They are the natural byproducts of living a life true to yourself. When you align with your purpose, everything else aligns as well. You stop trying to control every outcome and start trusting that everything is unfolding as it should. This trust in yourself, in the process, becomes the key to unlocking the life you've always dreamed of. Your power lies not in what you have, but in who you are and the unwavering belief that you are capable of creating the life you desire. When you choose to focus solely on yourself, you stop measuring your life by anyone else's standards. This is where the true power lies, not in comparison, but in the courage to be yourself, unapologetically. You stop chasing after external achievements to feel validated. because you realize that the only validation you need is your own. No longer do you seek approval or reassurance from the world around you. Instead, you begin to trust in your own instincts, in your own vision, and in your own ability to create the life you desire. This shift, though subtle at first, becomes the foundation of everything you will accomplish. The more you focus inward, the more your confidence grows. You start to see that you don't need to prove anything to anyone. Your value is inherent, and your ability to succeed is limitless. You stop worrying about what others think or what they expect of you, and instead you focus on the quiet certainty that you are enough. This realization is empowering. It frees you from the constant need to hustle for approval, and it allows you to move through life with a deep sense of peace and purpose. Your life becomes yours to create, and in that creation you discover your greatest strength. When you embrace this inner peace, when you allow yourself to be still long enough to hear your true desires, something incredible happens. Your mind begins to sharpen. You become more clear-headed, more focused. The distractions that once seemed so overwhelming start to fade into the background. You stop second-guessing yourself and start making decisions with confidence. You trust that every choice you make is leading you closer to your purpose. The more you align with your true self, the more your actions reflect your inner truth, and this alignment is what creates real success. The path to wealth and happiness is not found in the relentless pursuit of external goals, but in the commitment to focus on your inner self. As you start living for yourself and no one else, you will notice that the things you once thought you needed to chase begin to come to you effortlessly. You stop forcing things to happen. Instead, you allow the right people, the right opportunities, and the right resources to find their way into your life. The law of attraction isn't about chasing after what you want. It's about becoming the person who naturally attracts everything they need. When you align with your own purpose, you become a magnet for the very things you've always desired. This isn't just about material wealth. It's about the abundance of peace, joy, and fulfillment that comes when you are living in harmony with who you truly are. The more you focus on yourself and quiet the noise of the world, the more you create the space for everything you want to flow into your life. This alignment, this commitment to focusing inward, is the key to unlocking a life of limitless potential. You begin to realize that you are not just waiting for things to happen, you are creating them. You are building the life you deserve, and every decision, every action you take brings you closer to the happiness, wealth, and success that are your birthright. You've always had the power to create this life, and now you are finally stepping into it. When you begin to embrace this inner clarity, something shifts within you. The desire to prove yourself to others fades, replaced by the understanding that the only person you need to impress is yourself. You stop living for the approval of others and start living for your own peace, your own satisfaction. This shift is powerful. It allows you to let go of unnecessary stress and uncertainty. No longer are you constantly looking for external markers of success. Instead, you measure success by the progress you've made in becoming the person you've always wanted to be. The more you focus on yourself, the more you realize that the energy you put into your own growth multiplies and reflects outward into every aspect of your life. You begin to attract opportunities that align with your purpose, rather than chasing after fleeting moments of success that ultimately leave you unfulfilled. You stop wasting time on things that don't serve you, and start investing your time in the actions, habits, and decisions that move you toward your true goals. Every step forward, no matter how small, feels like a victory because you're no longer measuring it against anyone else's timeline or standard. You're simply moving toward a life that is meaningful and true to you. In this space, you realize that true happiness isn't something you need to chase or seek from others. It's a state of being that comes from accepting who you are, where you are, and what you have. When you stop looking outside of yourself for fulfillment, you discover that it was always within you, waiting for you to claim it. The more you align with your purpose, the more you cultivate this sense of inner peace, which in turn attracts everything else you need. For success, wealth, joy, they are not things to be chased. They are the natural results of living a life of authenticity and purpose. As you continue to embrace this mindset, the world around you begins to shift. People notice the change in you, not because you're seeking their approval, but because you're living with a sense of quiet confidence and inner peace that radiates outward. Opportunities start to appear, and you see solutions where there once seemed to be obstacles. The more you focus on yourself and let go of the need for constant validation, the more you become a magnet for everything you desire. You realize that success isn't about effort or striving, it's about alignment. The more you align with your purpose, the more everything else aligns with you. This is the power of self-focus. When you stop worrying about what others think, you create space for your true potential to emerge. You stop waiting for the right moment or the right circumstances, and instead, you create those moments for yourself. You become the architect of your own success, and in that, you discover a level of happiness and wealth that was always within your grasp. It's not about accumulating material things. It's about aligning with your true self and letting that energy guide you toward everything you've ever wanted. When you focus on yourself and stay silent, you realize that the world will provide you with everything you need to create a life that is fulfilling, meaningful, and abundant. The moment you embrace the power of focusing on yourself, you stop living in reaction to the world around you. Instead, you begin to live with intention, purpose, and unwavering clarity. Your thoughts become aligned with your deepest desires, and every action you take flows from a place of self-trust. This internal alignment isn't something that happens overnight, but as you commit to it, the transformation becomes undeniable. The more you invest in your own growth, the more you realize that everything you've ever needed was already inside you, waiting for the right moment to emerge. The world outside can be chaotic, but within you lies a calm, unshakable foundation from which everything flows. As you strengthen this inner resolve, you begin to see opportunities that were always there but had been hidden beneath the noise of distraction. You stop focusing on what you lack and start focusing on what you have. The power, the potential, the resources within you to create the life you desire. Each day becomes a chance to build momentum toward your dreams, one focused step at a time. You stop rushing toward success and instead allow it to unfold naturally, knowing that the right things will come to you as long as you stay true to yourself. When you live in alignment with your purpose, everything you need is already on its way. Your ability to silence the noise and focus on what truly matters begins to transform your relationships, your career, and your outlook on life. No longer are you seeking validation from others. Instead, you radiate confidence because you know your worth isn't determined by anyone's opinion but your own. This authenticity attracts the right people into your life. You no longer have to fight for attention or approval because you're already secure in who you are. You've let go of the need for constant external feedback and embraced the quiet strength of inner peace. It's in this peace that true wealth is cultivated, not just in material possessions, but in your ability to live in harmony with yourself. As you begin to embrace your own power, you notice that your actions become more deliberate, more aligned with your deepest desires. You make choices that reflect your true values, and as you do, your life begins to reflect those choices. Your happiness is no longer contingent on the opinions of others. It becomes a natural byproduct of living in truth. The more you focus on yourself, the more you discover that wealth isn't something you chase. It's something that flows effortlessly to those who are living authentically. The more you embrace silence and focus on your own path, the clearer everything becomes. Your confidence grows because you no longer need external circumstances to dictate your worth or your happiness. You stop allowing the fear of judgment or failure to hold you back. Instead, you move forward with courage, trusting that everything you need to succeed is already within you. You stop measuring your progress against others and start measuring it against the person you were yesterday. Every small step forward feels like a victory because you know that you are on the path that is meant for you. When you focus on yourself, you realize that the life you've always wanted is not outside of you. It's already inside you, waiting to be discovered. The happiness, success, and wealth you seek come from aligning with who you truly are. And when you embrace that alignment, nothing can stop you. You become unstoppable. You become the architect of your own destiny. When you shift your focus inward, something extraordinary happens. You stop waiting for the world to change, and you start realizing that the only change that truly matters is the one you make within yourself. The external circumstances that once seemed like barriers no longer hold power over you. You stop believing that success is something to be achieved outside of yourself and instead you understand that it's a process of alignment with who you truly are. The more you focus on your own growth, the more your world begins to shift. You no longer see the obstacles as things to fear. Instead, you see them as opportunities for growth, stepping stones that are guiding you toward the version of yourself you are meant to be. This process requires patience, discipline, and an unwavering belief in your own potential. But as you continue to focus on your own development, the rewards are clear. You no longer feel the need to prove yourself to anyone. You stop comparing your journey to others, knowing that your path is uniquely yours. The validation you once sought from the outside world is no longer necessary because you've found it within yourself. Every step you take feels more intentional, more aligned with your purpose. Your self-worth is no longer tied to external markers of success, but to your ability to stay true to your vision, to your purpose, and to yourself. The quiet strength that comes from this alignment becomes the foundation of everything you do. With every decision you make, you become more attuned to the energy you are creating. You realize that your thoughts, your actions, and your beliefs are shaping the life you are living. When you focus on yourself, you no longer feel the need to chase after things that don't serve your highest good. You begin to notice that the things you once thought you needed to fight for are now coming to you effortlessly. Opportunities align with your efforts, and the people you need to meet begin to show up in your life. It's as if the universe begins to conspire in your favor, not because you're chasing after success, but because you've aligned yourself with your true purpose. As you continue to focus inward, you find that your sense of peace deepens. You stop allowing external circumstances to dictate your emotions. Instead, you take full responsibility for your own happiness. You realize that your emotional state is a choice, and with each moment of stillness, you become more in control of how you react to the world around you. This control doesn't come from force. It comes from understanding that your true power lies in your ability to maintain peace, no matter what is happening outside of you. When you align with your purpose and trust your own strength, you stop needing validation from others. You stop worrying about their opinions, because you know the truth. You are enough, just as you are. And as you align with this truth, your sense of fulfillment grows. You stop chasing happiness, because you realize that happiness isn't something to be found. It's something to be lived. It's the byproduct of living authentically, of staying true to yourself and your purpose. As you continue to focus on your own growth, the happiness, wealth, and success that you've always dreamed of naturally fall into place. You don't have to fight for them. You simply have to be true to who you are, and everything you desire will follow. When you stop looking outside of yourself for answers, you begin to realize the incredible power that already lies within you. You begin to understand that everything you need to create the life you desire is already in your hands. The world around you may try to tell you that success is something that comes from external circumstances, from luck, or from the approval of others. But the truth is, success is an internal journey. It starts with your own belief in your potential, your ability to trust in yourself and your vision. Once you make this shift, you stop measuring your worth by the standards of others and start living by your own. This realization is liberating. It frees you from the pressure of constantly trying to fit into someone else's definition of success. You no longer have to chase after fleeting goals that leave you feeling empty. Instead, you begin to focus on what truly matters, building the life that aligns with your deepest values. The more you prioritize your inner growth, the more you see that your happiness doesn't depend on external accomplishments. It comes from your ability to be authentic, to show up as the truest version of yourself, no matter what anyone else thinks. The more you focus inward, the more you realize that your happiness is your responsibility. Every decision you make becomes an opportunity to align with your true self. The more you tune into your inner voice, the clearer your path becomes. You stop second-guessing your decisions and start trusting the process. You realize that even the smallest steps you take in the direction of your dreams are important because they are aligned with your purpose. The more you stay true to your purpose, the more you feel the peace and fulfillment that come from living authentically. You no longer need to prove yourself to anyone. You begin to understand that your value isn't based on what others think or how they perceive your success. Your value comes from within, from the strength, confidence, and belief you have in yourself. As you continue to focus on yourself, you begin to notice how much more powerful you feel. You become more confident in your decisions, knowing that they are rooted in your truth. You stop seeking validation and instead begin to validate yourself. This inner validation gives you the courage to pursue your goals, no matter how big or small, because you trust that your efforts will always be worth it. You stop waiting for permission to live the life you've always dreamed of. You take action because you know that you are the one who has the power to shape your future. The more you focus on yourself, the more you see that wealth isn't just about material success. It's about inner richness, too. It's the abundance of self-belief, inner peace, and fulfillment that makes all the difference. When you align with your purpose, wealth flows naturally into your life, not just in terms of money, but in terms of opportunity, connection, and joy. The more you honor yourself, the more the universe responds by bringing the right circumstances into your life. Your world becomes a reflection of the inner alignment you've created. You no longer chase after what you think you need. Instead, you attract what is meant for you. And that is where true wealth is found. The more you stay focused on your own journey, the more you realize that success isn't something to be earned through endless effort, but something to be allowed, to be invited into your life through deep alignment with your own purpose. Success comes naturally when you stop forcing it and start flowing with it. It's about trusting the process, trusting that you are exactly where you need to be right now. When you are truly in alignment with yourself, the universe begins to open doors for you, doors that were once closed or hidden from your view. What once seemed out of reach now feels like it's coming to you effortlessly. This happens not because you forced it, but because you've allowed yourself to align with the truth of who you are. As you focus on yourself, you stop measuring success by other people's standards. You stop defining your worth by your ability to keep up with someone else's progress. You begin to realize that true wealth and happiness come not from competing or comparing, but from living authentically. You begin to redefine what success means to you, based on your own values, your own goals, and your own dreams. The more you tune into your own desires, the clearer it becomes that happiness is not something to chase, but something to cultivate from within. It's not about finding something you lack, but about embracing everything you already are. You begin to recognize that silence is not emptiness, but the space in which your true potential can unfold. When you stop filling every moment with distractions, you create room for creativity, for clarity, for growth. In that silence, you hear your inner voice more clearly than ever before. You hear the whispers of your heart, the ones that guide you toward your purpose, the ones that help you make decisions that are aligned with your true path. This inner clarity becomes your compass, leading you toward a life that feels not only successful, but deeply fulfilling. You stop seeking answers from the outside and begin to trust that you already know exactly what you need. By focusing on yourself, you begin to see the connections between your inner world and your outer reality. You begin to notice that when you feel at peace within, the world around you reflects that peace. When you nurture your own growth, everything else in your life starts to grow as well. Your relationships deepen, your career flourishes, and the opportunities you once thought were out of your reach start flowing to you with ease. It's as if the universe is responding to the energy you're putting out, a direct result of your own alignment. The more you trust in yourself, the more the world begins to reflect that trust. Your wealth and happiness are no longer dependent on things you don't control. They are the natural results of being in harmony with yourself, of trusting your journey, and of believing in your own worth. The more you focus on your growth, the more everything else falls into place. You become a magnet for the life you've always dreamed of, not because you've chased it, but because you've become it. As you continue on this path, you realize that the happiness and wealth you seek were never something to be found. They were already within you, waiting to be discovered through your own focus and alignment. And now they are yours. The more you step into your own power, the more you begin to understand that true strength is not about force, but about being rooted in your own truth. When you stop relying on external validation and start trusting yourself, you unleash a force within you that cannot be stopped. You no longer waste energy on chasing things that don't serve you. Instead, you begin to attract the right people, the right opportunities, and the right experiences into your life. You stop being a passive participant in your own journey and become the creator of your destiny. This shift is transformative because you realize that the key to everything you desire is within you all along. It's never been about working harder or striving more intensely. It's been about becoming more aligned with the person you are always meant to be. As you continue to focus on your own growth and transformation, you stop allowing the distractions of the world to pull you off course. You begin to protect your energy, recognizing that every moment spent on things that don't serve your purpose is a moment wasted. Your energy becomes a precious resource that you choose to invest wisely. You no longer engage in negative self-talk or allow external criticism to affect your self-worth. You understand that your path is unique and that your journey is not meant to look like anyone else's. The only person you need to compare yourself to is the person you were yesterday, and even then you are gentle with yourself. Growth doesn't come from harsh judgment, but from compassion and patience. With every day that passes, you get closer to the truth of who you are. The more you focus inward, the more clarity you gain. You stop questioning your abilities and start trusting your instincts. Your decisions become more confident because they are grounded in the belief that you know exactly what's right for you. The noise of the outside world fades away, and you realize that you are in control of your life. You are the one who decides what success looks like, what happiness feels like, and what wealth means to you. When you release the need for approval and accept that you are already whole, you start attracting the kind of abundance that feels effortless. This abundance isn't just material wealth. It's the wealth of self-love, inner peace, and the unshakable confidence that comes from knowing who you are. When you embrace this truth, your life begins to reflect it. Opportunities seem to flow to you naturally. The right people come into your life, and doors that were once closed open wide. But even more than that, you begin to feel a deep sense of fulfillment. You stop living for the approval of others and start living for yourself. You stop chasing happiness because you realize it's something you can create within. The more you focus on your own growth, the more you understand that happiness is not a destination, but a way of living. It's the quiet, powerful realization that you are enough just as you are, and that everything you need to create the life you want is already inside you. As you continue this journey of focusing on yourself, the life you desire will unfold before you, not because you forced it, but because you've allowed it. The more you align with your true self, the more everything else aligns with you. This is how true happiness and wealth are built, not through struggle, but through alignment. You are the creator of your own reality, and the more you trust yourself, the more your reality will reflect the abundance you deserve.